Hi, I don't know exactly why you're watching this video. Perhaps there's some kind of motivation. Perhaps you just clicked on it because it's a habit of yours. However, if you are watching this video, then I just want to have a small chat with you. And by that, I just want to talk about things hmm, that I felt the need to talk about. And it's about that feeling of numbness that I believe that even you might face. It's a feeling of, in a sense, not wanting to live, but also not wanting to die. It's just kind of like you're existing and going with the flow. It's a strange feeling, to say the least. And I think for me, it was at its peak during COVID, and perhaps it might have also been like that for you too, if you do know what I'm talking about. I think the main reason why it was at its peak during COVID was because during COVID we had absolutely nothing to do to distract ourselves from that numbness. We had no social interaction, we had nothing, so we just kind of reverted back into this docile state where the only thing we could have done, or at least what I did, was watch YouTube videos and just procrastinate my entire life away. And I regret it. I really fucking regret it. Sometimes I think, okay, what if I go back in time and not have done that? Then life could be so much better. Or rather, not better, but I could have more things. I'd be smart. I might have read some books back then. I might have started a business during COVID. I could have done all of that. And yeah, but it's not like time travel exists. I mean, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, who knows. Maybe there's some secret lizards living in the center of the earth who can time travel, but that's like only a 20% chance of that being true. So yeah. And yeah, that's kind of the main topic that I wanted to discuss, which is that sometimes in life people say that there's happiness in life, there's sorrow in life, but I think what's worse than feeling all of those feelings, or perhaps extreme joy, or perhaps even extreme anger, which I think, at least for me, is not a good feeling. It feels like shit and I absolutely hate it. A lot of these negative feelings humans just do not like. It doesn't feel good, yeah, but what I think is worse than all of those feelings is just numbness, not feeling anything at all. And I think, in my personal experience, the reason I felt that numbness, because I, it was kind of like a defense mechanism for me. It was like there was all of this shit inside of me, this anger, this fear, this sadness, this anxiety, and I wanted to run away from all of that. So I just felt numb instead, because what's better than, you know, not what's better, but it's better to feel nothing than to feel something bad. At least that's what I thought back then. And yeah, it was kind of like these feelings of shit, these feelings of this terrible, bottled up resentment towards something other than me, when in reality, when I look back on it, it should have been me. I should have resented myself more. And the reason I say that is not because it's not because I'm like a pessimistic person, or because I hate myself, but rather I think it was kind of my fault for allowing myself to feel that way. There's this quote by Marcus Aurelius which says that we have power, but we only have power over our own minds and not the external events. And as we realize this, only then can we find true strength. I'm obviously paraphrasing it, but I hope you get it. So yeah, and that quote kind of just resonated with me, because throughout our entire life, at least my entire life, I was just told mind over body, mind over body, mind over body. And the thing is, that is true in my opinion. It's true for the better and for the worse. For the better, you can overcome your body and do amazing things. But for the worse, you can overcome your body, you can overcome your natural tendencies and do shit for the worse too. Look at suicide. Yeah, I remember this one time where I talked with this one dude who was suicidal, and I was young, okay, I was like 13, 12. He said he has attempted multiple times, and we were chatting, and I and he said that I was kind of the only person who talked with him, and then I stopped talking with him. I kind of just ignored him from that then onwards. I don't remember why I did that. However, it just kind of felt too much for me, especially for a kid like me. Well, back then I was a kid. I was like 13, 14. Perhaps I was even younger than. Actually, I was 14. And it was the peak of COVID, no friends and all of that. And I feel really bad about that. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I have done a lot of shit in my life, especially in the past. Shit that I'm not proud of. Shit to other people and especially myself. But the thing is, it's all, in a sense, in my head. Because when you really look back at it in a kind of like logical sense, it's just memories. Like the past, it's just a figment of our imagination, because the past, all it really is just like a collection of our memories. Hence, it's just us. It's always just been us, for the better and for the worst. So I guess it all boils down to going back to the part about the mind. People say the mind plays tricks on you, the mind does this and that, but the way I see it, it's just that you have trained yourself, or rather, this is what I did. I think I, all throughout my life, trained myself to trick myself over and over again, and that's what led to my misery. And yeah, and obviously I understand that, when you're a kid, you don't know any better. Some people manipulate you, some people do all sorts of tricks on you, people lie, and it's very confusing for a child. And I'm not blaming the children out there, it's not the children's fault. However, whom I do blame is the fact that, or rather, not whom, but rather what I blame is the fact that a lot of people aren't taught how to untrick themselves from feeling, being, from, I guess, for lack of a better term, a useless person to themselves into someone who's more capable. And I think that's why there are a lot of people out there who just go to the internet and find celebrities and role models and just idolize them, because in a sense it's kind of like you're projecting your weaknesses onto them and just hoping that their strength would evaporate your weaknesses, so you can feel, in a sense, whole, because they have what you lack. And that's what I did. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but my little sister, she is screaming. I don't know about what, but she is screaming about something, and it's fucking cute. So, I guess what it all boils down to is just that our mind plays tricks on us, but at the end of the day, you're kind of dissociating. It's like a dissociating term to use, like the mind plays tricks on you, not when in reality it's just you. Or rather, it was me. I play tricks on myself all the time. Like, I had a lot of opportunities when I was young to do a lot of great things, but then I always thought to myself, I don't want it. I just don't like it. But in reality, I was just afraid, man. I was really afraid. Yeah, I was really afraid, and now that I'm older, I can admit that to myself and not feel bad about it. Because I was ashamed to be afraid. When in reality, I guess what I didn't realize back then was that fear is something that's completely natural, and you either have to embrace it to succeed, or you just let it take you over, or take it, like, let it control you. Sorry about that. Small burp. And I guess, yeah, it's been a couple of years since, COVID. I feel a lot better now. I do, in fact, feel a lot better. And I don't know exactly at what point I changed. Because think of it like this. When you were 7 years old, you were way different than how you are now. When you were 7 years old, you were most likely full of happiness, joy, and whatnot, and now you're here at whatever age you are, and you are a completely different person. At what point did you change? I personally think that there was no point at which you change, but rather you never stop changing. I think what humans are is that all we are is just change. We constantly change in every way imaginable. And it makes sense. Our brains are designed to adapt and evolve and do all of that. So it makes sense. Like, as you're watching this video, your brain is making new neural connections, new neural networks. So you are physically changing. However, it doesn't feel like that to us, at least. People say that, oh, you always change, you do that. All we are is change. Just like how I said it, but you probably don't feel it in your own bones. I certainly don't. And I think the main reason for that is we are not changing in the way that we wish to change. Or rather, the change that we are seeking is not sufficient when compared to the rate at which we are currently changing. I think that's the main reason as to why people say that we can't change, I can't do that. And I thought that for a long ass fucking time. I thought I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't change, I'll be stuck, I'll feel like shit. And I guess at the end of the day, what I really did was I just didn't like the way things were going, and I just said to myself, oh, it must be because I can't change, when in reality I was going in a direction. I was going somewhere, but it was not the direction I liked. It was not the direction I enjoyed. However, but I managed to get myself out of that, direction. Actually, no, it was not that I managed to get myself out of that direction. It's just that I went more in that direction. They say that all roads lead to Rome, but not all roads are the same. And I think I went in a road that felt shit at first, extremely shit. I felt really bad. I was not a joyful person as I was walking on that road. Let's just say I attempted sometimes. I think the more clever people among you might have guessed what the other part of that attempted is, but yeah. I was not, yeah. But the thing is, all roads do lead to Rome. However, if you give up while on the middle of the road and just decide to sit and wait instead of, you know, keep on going on a journey and just sit and wait, or perhaps like how some do, take their own lives because it's taking too long, then it will become a problem. All roads do lead to Rome, but these are all roads that we have never gone through before, so we have absolutely nothing to expect. Or rather, we have no idea what's in store for us. We are stepping into the unknown, and that's the most frightening thing. Not knowing. Not knowing is the main fear that every human being has. And I truly do believe that. It's because if you do not know something, it means anxiety, fear, and all of that just arises within you. Just like human beings are not designed to not know something. We always have to know. Like, for example, if someone says, I do not know this specific thing, then well, or rather, if someone says, I don't know anything at all, then you can just simply ask them, do you know that you don't know anything? And they'll just say, yeah, yes. Why? It's because they know. We are designed to know things. That's how our brain is designed to operate. But the moment that, we kind of sidetracked and we go towards a place of uncertainty, that's where usually that negativity, those feelings, those states of unwantedness just exist. And that's what causes us the most harm, or at least that's what caused me the most harm. However, the moment in which I decided to stop doing that, or decided to start doing less of that, the moment in which I started to endure more uncertainty was the day where, in a sense, I started to enjoy my walk to Rome more. I truly did. And then these moments kept on piling up, one moment after one moment, and then before I knew it, I'm just looking back on my life, and for whatever reason, I don't want it to change. I'm very happy. I don't know why. I feel very calm. Like, I know there's a lot of things that's going to be in store for me. AI will probably take over my job. The degree I'm following is not going to be worth it in 10, 20 years because, artificial intelligence and whatnot. I live in a third world country, so there's that. Financially speaking, I'm not rich, very middle class. There's all of these other problems, or rather all of these things that are not so useful, but for whatever reason I don't consider them problems. Like, I genuinely do not. Like, you can make fun of me for being any one of those things or anything, and for whatever reason it just wouldn't register to my mind as a problem. I feel contempt. Yes, I do feel fear. Yes, I feel a lot of anxiety sometimes. Yes, I feel sadness. But I also feel happiness and joy and all of that. However, I'm no longer feeling that numbness. Rather, what I am feeling is contempt, not numbness. I think there's a very subtle difference between contempt and numbness, which is that numbness is what prevents you from expressing yourself and being yourself more, or rather, it's what prevents uncertainty from fully taking shape. Meanwhile, contempt is what allows uncertainty to fully take shape without you falling victim into depravity. So, what that means is that contempt is what helps you tackle uncertainty and to help you create more possibilities, because you cannot create possibilities without stepping into the unknown. And I think this is what Marcus Aurelius meant, or at least this is my interpretation of it. We do not have any control over our external surroundings. However, we do have control over the way we perceive everything in our life. And I think it's entirely our choice. Viktor E. Franklin said that the only choice that humans have is our ability to choose how we react in any given situation. And I think that's true. So I think in our day-to-day lives, it would be more beneficial for us if we do exactly that, to choose how we want to perceive. However, if we do want to choose how we want to perceive, we have to know, or rather, we have to attempt to find the truth. We have to attempt to find what is true, and to do that, we have to go through uncertainty. And sometimes it's just not a pleasant feeling. It does not feel pleasant. However, if you do that with a little bit more optimism, and instead of labeling it as uncertainty but rather possibility, then I think we can live a significantly better life. So yeah, that's kind of my rambling. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are still watching this video, then thank you. I hope you can tackle uncertainty too, and yeah.